The 10th album, it just happens, doesn't it? You keep going and you just keep working, and at some point you end up with these kind of landmarks or albums, or 10 is it's a good number. I mean, not a lot of bands reach 10 albums, I guess. I'm really happy about that. I mean, it feels great. It's not something we spend a lot of time thinking about, though. We just kind of happens to be number 10.
You'd think that it would be easier and more comfortable to be doing it the second time around, but I actually feel like there was more pressure this time, because with War Eternal, for example, it was just so new and there was no precedent. It was, I mean, obviously I was very familiar with Arch Enemy, and Arch Enemy has, the precedent of having just amazing album every single time, album after album, but, we were sort of just like going in full speed ahead. Now with Will to Power, we had a little bit more time to sort of flesh out ideas on the road, at home, together in the rehearsal studio, where we were recording it. So with Will to Power, I think it was, we sort of went through everything with a fine-tooth comb a little bit more, which in a way made it a little bit more difficult to record, I think. But obviously it was fun to record nonetheless.
I was thinking about the title Beyond Good and Evil. That's a Nietzsche book, and but then of course it's already been used, which I kind of realized at some point. But then I was reading about him and some of his writings, and I was like, oh, Will to Power. Yeah, I've heard about that. So also it sounded and looked cool, but what does it actually mean? What's it about? What's he talking about? And I started reading about it. I sent it to Alissa, and you had a good thing about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, as soon as I, realized the reference for the name Will to Power and where it came from, and I started looking into it a little bit more, I realized that it really did relate back to every song, but it kind of in a different way for every song. And so it's just interesting that, if you think about War Eternal as sort of being like the bloody battlefield where everything was fought, the Will to Power is sort of, stepping up and surviving your injuries and licking your wounds and moving forward from there. And so I feel like there's like a very positive, optimistic sort of feeling to the title Will to Power, but also there's, in the back of your mind, there's that knowledge that that same power that can drive you to survive anything in life can also drive others to do almost anything in life, whether that be good or evil. So, yeah, it's kind of that double-edged sword, and I think that, we do discuss these topics in various ways throughout the album.
It's necessary to use like all the colors, really. I like to have light and shade, and not only there's I use major keys as well as minor keys. I just like to have a more complete and extreme metal is not really known for having a lot of emotional depth, but we really try to create that depth and sort of emotional content, where you can feel it's like a journey, and you're taking the highs and lows, and and like very beautiful moments and very dark and ugly moments, and that's something that we spend a lot of time on creating. There are songs that deal with this kind of the same subjects, I guess. There's a song called The Eagle Flies Alone, which is about self-empowerment for sure, and following your own path. And, that's something that I've had in my lyrics, reoccurring. Keep writing the same song, basically. But it's something that's very close to my heart. And so that's something that's a reoccurring theme in Arch Enemy. Staying strong to your own beliefs and not listening too much to what other people are telling you to do, and questioning things and so forth. But this I think lyrically this album goes a little bit more different. It's not so. We kind of touch on quite a few different things.
I mean, I think Michael has really mastered the art of writing like anthems. Like I feel like a lot of the songs where Michael wrote the lyrics, There's songs that you know, I can see people just singing it to themselves to pump themselves up before a big event or to get out of, maybe if they're not feeling great, you know, these songs help people through these times. And we see people in the audience singing them with such passion, you know, that it really drives us on stage. And so I think that that's something that's always been an arch enemy, and it continues to be very present in Will to Power. And I, you know, I sort of, I think in some of my songs, like for example, My Shadow and I mean, I sort of went a little bit more into the introversion and sort of the lonely side of going on your own path and going your own way and flying alone, so to speak, and how sometimes having that sort of self-confidence can also lead to self-conflict, and how you deal with yourself being just as important as how you deal with others in life. So I sort of ventured down that path a little bit and explored that sort of side of things a little bit.